Today we're going to talk about perceptions. The definition of a perception is that it's a noun, the ability to see, hear, or become aware of something through the senses. Mirzoff talked about perceptions through interpretation of the sight as knowledge, was radical in the literal sense, in that it goes to the root of all understanding. The body becomes the medium in which sensory memories are inscribed. Cherry wrote about the term personal perceptions in social psychology and how it refers to the different mental processes we use to form impressions of other people based off of our own impressions. Consider how often you make personal perceptions of people every day. When you meet a new coworker, you immediately begin to develop an initial impression of this person, even though you know little bit about them. This allows us to make snap judgments and decisions, but it can also lead to bias or stereotype perceptions of other people. I was recently asked to take a photo showing myself as something I'm not. With my first name being Ryan and I being a woman, I went with a photo of me dressed as a man with my hair long and lipstick on. In my life, people who have not met me come to the perception that I am a man and often address me as Mr. Deike on emails or question to see my ID in a store when I'm using my own credit card. I was also asked to take a photo showing me as culture society perceives me. Oftentimes, I have people come and tell me that I'm supermom because I can juggle it all. Work, school, volunteering to coach my kids at sports, and being a single parent because my husband works the graveyard shift. However, I am far from being a supermom. Come with me on a Costco run, and I can guarantee you the kid that is in the freezer section inside the doors is probably my son. Seeing these snap judgments and perceptions firsthand in her community, artist Casey Adams wanted to start a conversation about racism in her community through art. One thing Adams does is she takes 2 photos of predominant people in her community. She has them capture 2 very different moods. She asks them to label their photos, choosing terms that they felt their community perceived them as, and the second photo told who they really were. What a simple yet powerful way to get people to stop and think. We are all guilty of making perceptions and judgments based on how people look. With all the talk on perception, let's look at the perception the United States is giving right now on the Mexico border. The widely shared photo of the little girl crying as Border Patrol agents patted down her mother became a symbol of the families pulled apart by the Trump administration's zero-tolerance policy. Award-winning Getty image photographer John Moore said this about the image. The image showed a moment in time at the border, but the emotion on the little girl's distressed face has ignited a response. As a photojournalist, my job is to inform and report what is happening. Melania Trump took a trip down to the children's detention centers after her husband signed the reunification executive order. What perception did she want to send? Apparently, this was the perception Melania wanted to send out to the world when she visited children separated from their parents, sporting a jacket that says, "I really don't care. Do you?" The perception she gave when she wore that jacket really didn't fit very well with her Be Best campaign. Recently in the Nebraska news, head Husker football coach Scott Frost had this to say about visual culture and social media to his players wanting to be recruited to Nebraska. He wants his football players to give off the right perceptions to the community, and so he's taken a stand on social media posts. Not only are coaches like Scott Frost looking at their social media, but so are scholarship committees and employers. What perceptions does your social media give to viewers? In this day of technology, visual culture can be posted in an instant. Everyone's going to make a judgment of you. Make sure it's the perception you want to be sending. In my middle school classroom, when we talk about perception, students use iPads to capture 2 different photos of themselves. They use Pic Collage to then edit the photos, creating one as how people perceive them as and the other one as to who they really are, mimicking much of that done by Casey Adams in her community.